Hey everyone, it's Vicky Wright, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Australia. I'm just a little bit early. I'm out of a little bit of practice going live, so I'm just going to try and see if I can refresh my page. So just bear with me. If I can't do it, that's all right. I'll try and read everything on my phone. Is that too dark for you? It looks pretty good here, but on the phone it may be a little bit dark, but we'll see how we go. And I can't get the live up on my page, so just bear with me. Okay, welcome to Thursday's Stampin' Paper Lives. So today I thought we'd play with the chalkboard technique. It's an old technique, one that's been around for a while, but I've been playing with it the last couple of weeks, and I thought I would share the cards that I created probably about 2 weeks ago for our live. So this is card number 1. So that's just card number 1. That's just your very basic technique of the chalk. This is card number 2, and I've just stepped it up a little bit and created, you basically used all the same design elements but stepped it up a little bit. Okay, so let's get on with it. What we're going to do is we're going to create this card first. I just thought I'd try again, but it's not working. Okay. So I thought we'd do this card first. It's very easy, won't take long. But this time, instead of doing lovely lipstick, I'm going to be using Coastal Cabana, just for something a little bit different. So we'll do all that while the ink's drying. We'll put all that together. Okay, but first up, we're going to do our stamping. Now, I'm using the Stamparatas to do this. It just makes it a little bit easier. And also to, just in case the first image with our technique doesn't work, I can always go back over it. So can you see that? Okay, so I'm going to put that right up into the corner, and I'm going to add our little magnet. Now, I've already pre-set these onto my plate to where I wanted it. So when I set them, I just laid them on the piece of cardstock where I wanted to put them, picked it up with the plate, and Bob's your uncle. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink our images with white craft ink. Now this craft ink is the older version, but it still works. I just want a good coverage. And using the Stamparatas, you can do the sentiment and the image at the same time. And that looks pretty good to me. So we'll just go over it one more time, just so it's nice and bright. And when I'm using craft ink, or the white, I really press down on it. And that's pretty good to me. So I'll just get I was going to get a tissue, but I don't have one. So I'll just put that aside for the moment. When you're using the craft ink, just be very careful too that you don't rub it on anything, because it will smudge a little bit. So it just takes a little bit longer to dry. So while that's drying, I'm going to put our card together. So basically what I did, I've embossed the Whisper White, a piece of Whisper White, with the Subtles embossing folder. And all we're going to do is put it onto a piece of black, basic black. Now when you're doing the chalkboard technique too, it always works better on a piece of dark cardstock. So any of probably the neutrals would be great for it. And then we're going to bring in our Calypso Coral base card. That espresso probably would have looked nice with these colours too, but that's okay. And we're just going to put that down onto our card like that. Night of Navy would have been nice with this. Actually, Night of Navy would have looked lovely with this, the Coastal Cabana. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, while I'm still waiting, I'm just going to get an inside inserts. I have inserts always pre-cut. I'll take it to the size that I want. And what we're going to do is grab our Coastal Cabana ink pad, and I've just grabbed the butterfly from the Positive Thoughts stamp set, which is what the fern's from, and the sentiment is from Here's a Card stamp set. I love this stamp set, I use it a lot. So we're just going to tap down on here, just tap, tap, tap. We're going to stamp the inside, and of course we've got to have a matching envelope. So I'm just going to do that, and I'll put one on the back as well. I'll put that up there out of the way so the ink doesn't get on anything. Close that up. So while we're waiting still, we'll put our inside in our card. So we're just going to put a little bit of glue on the back, open our card, stick our insert in just like that. And that's all we need, something nice and simple. Then we're going to do the front of our card. Now before we start, you always think you have everything ready, but you don't. I'm going to do a little border, just to finish it off a little bit, around create a frame around our image. Okay, so all I've done is grabbed our chalk marker, line this up on my graph paper so that I know I'm going to get this in a straight line. You can always freehand it if you wanted to, but I'm going to do it this way. And all I've done is just randomly, and as I said, randomly draw some lines up here, couple. You can do squiggly lines, you can draw a couple of flowers around it if you like. You could even stamp a few flowers around too if you wanted to in the white ink, or the craft ink. And we're just going to go down here. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to put a couple of little dots just in the middle. Just like that. Just finishes it off a little bit. Then we're going to grab our craft ink again, and with the tissue, you could also use a sponge if you wanted to. But with the tissue, I'm just going to pick up a small amount of craft ink at a time, and I'm just very gently rubbing around. Well, started off very gently, but that's all right. At least I'll be able to see it. It's a little bit darker. I'm a bit light-handed when I come to do things like this. Everyone's a little bit different. I think I like the darker one. Growing up, our boards were never really clean. I think the only time they were really clean was at the beginning of each school year or after our terms. I just keep going until I'm happy with the coverage. And if you wanted to, you could come down the middle. That's better. I like that. And that is our card, our technique. Okay, then all we're going to do adhere this to a piece of Coastal Cabana, just like that. And we're going to get our Stampin' Dimensionals, which I did have. And now I can't find, oh, here they are. Can't find them from looking. And all we're going to do, put a couple of dimensionals around in each corner, one in the middle. Take our sticky backs off. And I'm just going to pop it up in the middle, just like that. Now, what I'm going to do too, just to add a little bit more colour, I've cut the butterfly from the matching dies. I think it's Nature's Thoughts. They match the stamp set Positive Thoughts. Take some of that off. I'll just stick him just there. Oops. Just tull that down a bit. Pop his little, that will stick. And then we're going to come in with some rhinestones. And I think we'll use the rhinestones from, if I have any left. Yep, I do. The holiday rhinestones. They've got a few colours of pumpkin pie, coastal cabana, cherry cobbler, which I've used, pumpkin pie. Oh, that's the shaded spruce, the green, and the blue is the night and navy. Okay, so we're just going to pop a few of these. I'll put one on the middle of the butterfly. We'll put one down here, and we'll put one up here, I think, just there. And that is our card. Very simple, very easy, but one with a old basic technique, but effective chalkboard. So that's card number 2, and that's card number 1. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same technique for our card number 2, using the same layout and the same technique, but stepping it up a little bit. So this time, this is our card, if I can find it. There. So this time I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. The paper is the Bright 6x6 DSP collection, and it's all the same. Okay, so we'll bring in this our panel that we're going to use. I've already done the panel, so what I did was I stamped it in Versamark, and I've embossed it in white ink, okay, before I started. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to once again create a small border, okay, and we're just going to use the chalk marker and a ruler, and I'm lining it up so that I can get it straight just against the graph paper, just like that. Now that doesn't look straight, but it is. Now it doesn't worry me too much about bits of it being light and dark, because I like that effect. So I'm only going to go down 2 sides this time, and we're just going to use the same thing with a couple of dots in between, and that'll be it. Then we're going to grab our craft ink again, move everything out of the way, and our tissue, and this time we're going to go over the whole lot. So I'm even going over all the embossed bits, and I'm bringing it out to the sides. I'll go around the sides a little bit as well, but I mostly want it all around. The edges of the embossed, or concentrating on that part, and that's it. Just need enough so that you can see it, but same with teachers. Some are heavy-handed and some are light-handed with the chalk and the blackboards. And I'm just going to go over the embossed part so that I can take that chalk off the top. Not going to worry about around the sides because that's what we want. Then we'll bring in our, I'm going with Daffodil Delight this time. So we're going to bring in our Daffodil Delight card panel. And we're going to stick the chalkboard panel to our Daffodil Delight. Just like that. Then what I'm going to do is bring in our piece of Whisper White and a piece of the Daffodil Delight. Don't worry too much about that section because we're not going to see that. I've actually cut out the butterfly from the middle, but as I said, we're not going to see that. And what I might do, I just feel this is a little bit too wide, so I'm going to cut it back a little bit, I think. Too wide, that might be better. And we're going to just stick this across the middle. So all we're doing is adding a little bit of glue on the back of our DSP. So you can decide what side of the DSP you want. And I'm just going to place that about there, I think. Once again, lining it up on our grid paper. And making sure that this butterfly, if you cut your dies this way, don't cut it so that this part is over on the side. You don't want it to be shown. So I know it's not going to be shown there. Grab my scissors and just cut off the excess DSP. I always cut mine a little bit longer than what I need. It's better to, what's that saying? Measure twice, cut once. Okay, so that's done there. Then just to add a little bit more interest to it, we're going to grab our Simply Scoring tool and we're going to add a few score lines onto it. Hey Rose, how are you? So what I do when I do this, I always make sure that I place it on the top with the top right side facing up, and I just measure where my first score line is going to be. So that will be at 3 3/4, and I'm just going to put one up the top. Okay, just like that. Then I turn it over the other side. Same thing for the bottom, and my first score line is going to be 2 1/2. I flip it over. I do 2 1/2, and I think I'm doing them at 1/8, and I think we'll do 3. And that just adds a little bit more of a wow to your card or interest. And it's sort of, I like my DSP to be sort of finished off a little bit, the tops and bottoms. Then we're going to stick this to a piece of basic black. Like that. Just like that. Then we're going to bring in our Daffodil Delight base card, which was pre-scored. And we're going to stick this to the back. Now all the measurements and the list of products I've used, I'm going to post on my blog once I put it on the blog, and I'll also post it to this group as well. So that's done. Once again, we're going, you can just see how that just finishes off the card. Well, I think it does anyhow. Everyone's a little bit different. Then we're going to grab our dimensionals again. And we're just going to put one in each corner and one in the middle. Take our sticky backs off. Making sure that I stick it on straight. I might put it about there. And you can see now that I have actually covered up that little butterfly that was die cut out the middle. Then we're going to get our little butterfly. And we're going to add some glue on the back. So this butterfly, as I said, was cut out from our DSP. We're just going to stick him about there. I'll just hold that for a couple of seconds. And we'll grab some bling. I think we might play with... Actually, these golds would be look all right. This is the gold glitter from the catalogue. So we might just add our gold glitter. Now when you're getting these off, sometimes it will come apart. So what I do is I just sort of bend underneath like that. Pick it up. Put one about there, and we want one in the middle, so we'll have a big one in the middle so we can see it, and we'll put one right there, not real in the middle, but it'll do. Oh, I've taken it off. Okay, let's see if we can fix this up. What I'll do, I'm just going to get my some snail. And I'm just going to stick it back on top like that. And it's not going to work. Okay, so we'll just put another one over the top, which is okay. That's it. And that's it. So that is our card, our second card, using the same technique but in a different way. So that's the Daffodil Delight. That's our second one. And that's our first one. So that's those two together. These are the embossed images. That's those two. And then these are the first ones we did. And as I said, I will have the not the instructions, but the list of products and tutorial and measurements on my blog. And I'll also post them in this group. Okay, thanks for watching. See ya. Hooray.